Hi, I'm going to give you a free sample today from my book. You know the book, and the twist of the dial. What happened to radio, 1960 to 2020? And the sample that I'm going to give you really goes a long way to explain what did happen to radio from a different approach that you may, as a listener, may not have thought of. The name of the piece, it's a little bit long, but I think it's worth it. I think you'll learn a lot, is So You Want to Own a Radio Station. I love to cook. I'm a good cook. I post a lot of my meals on social media. I have a following. People tell me I should open a restaurant. I've actually thought of it, thought of what I'd call it Smoky Joe's Cafe, and what I'd serve my original Philly cheesesteaks, a Greek feta shrimp dish that people rave about, and meatballs like my Italian grandma made. But I've befriended enough restaurant and bar owners, seen and read enough by the late Anthony Bourdain to know I don't know a damn thing about running a restaurant, and I'd be bankrupt within a year. Why then do people who love the oldies or real country, not this crossover crap, or want to take on Rush and Hannity with liberal talk, think they're qualified to own and run a radio station? Being a lover of seafood and coincidentally selling radio time in Brookville, Pennsylvania, crystallized for me the fallacy of owning a business just because you love what you'd give to the public. I complimented the owner of the new seafood store, telling her how much I love shrimp and clams and everything from the sea. I was taken aback when she replied, I don't like seafood myself, but a lot of people do, and no other store around here specializes in it, so I thought it'd be a good business to open a seafood store. I hate country music. I've managed and sold commercials on country music stations, rarely listening to them except to make sure the ads that I sold were running. I managed an urban contemporary station in Columbus, Ohio, but am as white and unhip as they come. One day while consulting for a station in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, with hardly any sales on the books, I walked into the new owner's office to find him sorting through 45 RPM records, trying to decide which of them to add to the station's playlist. I explained to him as gently as possible, he had a large ego, that what songs the station played wouldn't matter if he had to shut the doors. His focus had to be on sales. To be successful, defined as making a profit, a station has to determine what it programs, whether news or music, and what type of music, based on the market, the demographics, and socioeconomic characteristics of the city and area it serves. A radio station playing 50s, 60s oldies may be a winner in retirement towns of Florida and Arizona, but it'll bomb in college towns like Ann Arbor or Bloomington. Then there's the competition. If another more established station is already playing the obvious music or format for that area, you need to decide if you can go straight up against them. I've lost my place here. For listeners and ad dollars that the format will yield, or find a format that attracts listeners with spendable income who are not being adequately served by another station. So while you may love doo-wop, your retirement community station may end up playing a soft 70s, 80s music format, think Barry Manilow, the Carpenters, because they're aging, wealthy widows and divorcees not being serviced, musically on the radio, that is. The decision about a radio station programs has to be determined by market research, not by what an owner likes to hear, and not by ego. On several occasions, as a general manager and as a consultant, I've had to deal with the egos of radio station owners, especially new owners, with no prior broadcast experience. I've had to try to help them as gently as possible, so I don't lose the gig, to overcome their egos and make them successful. Professionals are the worst. Just because a man is a successful doctor, dentist, or lawyer doesn't mean he'll be a successful, profitable radio station owner. Not only did I have to tell these accomplished guys and gals that they couldn't play the music they liked just because they liked it, but more importantly, I had to tell them making money wouldn't be the cakewalk they thought it would be. For starters, because they bought the local radio station, thinking it would elevate them at the country club as a leader and shaker in the community, they probably were too anxious to buy it and paid more for it than they should have. I was hired to manage a station in Warren, Ohio in the 80s. The new owner, a successful car dealer and owner of a small station in a very tiny town a couple of hours away, raved about how much business I could get from the nearby indoor mall. He could never grasp the reality that the managers of those stores, all of which were national chains, had no authority to buy local advertising. And sure, you could give them a proposal to send to corporate, but the advertising agencies and in-house advertising departments of these stores only purchase regional television and network radio ads that covered multiple store locations. They didn't buy local radio. To the novice owner's eyes, those shopping malls with all their stores looked like easy pickings. If buying and successfully running a radio station in the 80s was deceptively difficult, the hazards of buying one today should be painfully obvious to any prospective owner. Many of those national brand stores in the mall have gone out of business or gone totally online. The malls themselves have been shuttered or converted to office or consignment spaces, neither of them realistic targets for the local radio station sales rep. Big box retailers have driven out of business long-standing local furniture and hardware stores, whose owners used to be reliable hometown radio station clients. The big boxes don't buy local radio ads. Almost every small market that I managed had a downtown nexus of Main and State, with a local bank on each corner. Each bank bought a morning newscast on the local station, year in, year out, except the years after regional bank mergers and consolidations. The demise of brick and mortar retail and the subsequent boom in online shopping, along with the narrowing of retail competition, has reduced the number of businesses a radio station can call on to buy its commercials. All this while social media is siphoning off the coming generation of consumers who no longer get their news, music, entertainment, and information from traditional media, over-the-air television, cable TV, and radio. So would you still like to buy a radio station? Well, you know what? I'd still like to own a restaurant. Tell you what, I'll open my restaurant. You can come by in a year and sell me some radio commercials, if we're both still in business. So again, I think that piece really puts its finger on answering the question, a large chunk of the question of what happened to radio 1960 to 2020. Again, the book is In the Twist of the Dial. It's available at Amazon Books. Thanks.